appreciate you tuning in. Tonight in movie reviews, we were talking one of the films that I highlighted in my recent 2025 Spooky Summer Spectacular. We are talking Clown in a Cornfield. But let's not waste any time. Let's jump right on into things. After the recent death of her mother, Quinn Maybrook and her father have moved to Kettle Springs, Missouri, looking for a fresh start. Quinn is able to make new friends and get settled in school, but quickly learns that surviving Kettle Springs is anything but a laugh. With a killer clown on the loose taking out the children of the town, can Quinn and her friends solve this mystery before it's lights out under the big top? And there it is, folks. That is Clown in a Cornfield. Now, like I said, this is one of the films that I featured in my 2025 Spooky Summer Spectacular. I love me a good slasher. There's no better way to start off the summer season here with a film like this. I know we have a few more coming around, but this happens to be one of the few that's on my list here that I don't really have much insight into. Like, I'm aware of the book series by Adam Caesar. I have not had a chance to read them yet, and they're definitely on my list for sure, but I haven't got a chance to get around to them, so I came to this completely ignorant. I even talked about it in that special that, all I knew was that we're having a slasher that had clowns in it. It had Will Sasso and Kevin Durand, and that was more than enough for me. And I think that was for the best, honestly, just because I was able to come into this one blind, not really have a lot of expectations on it, and just truly just sit back and enjoy. And granted, I don't think the film is the home run that a lot of people online have been discussing it to be, but I do think there's definitely a lot in here to really, really enjoy. Katie Douglas, who plays Quinn, does a fantastic job bringing realism to the role of this young teenager who's dealing with the death of her mother. She still has this relationship with her dad, as much as they try to show it being strained throughout the film, and it definitely is. She's still not like in that stereotypical role of just wanting nothing at all to do with him, not wanting to be in his presence in the least bit, shutting off any love he puts in. It's just there's clearly a strain that the two of them have not been able to actually discuss as of yet. And so they're both trying like bit by bit here. They're just not finding the right way to connect. And I love the fact that they show that Quinn is actually like, she's a smart girl. She's got a good head on her shoulders. And even though she's going through this terrible, terrible time, she's still trying to make the best decisions for herself. She's not becoming self-destructive like we can see in a lot of these films, or a lot of these roles. She's not really acting out. Like, she's unfortunately getting in trouble because it's like a wrong place, wrong time kind of situation. But I enjoyed the fact that it didn't feel, again, like the stereotypical kind of role in this film, to where Quinn is just going to become the bad girl to deal with her trauma and her grief. And it would make sense, but we've seen enough of that it's refreshing just to see somebody act what I feel is a more realistic way of approaching things. Now, the downer with that is that we don't really get to explore that grief all too much. Like, there's some conversations that she has with a couple of the other cast members, including her father and then her love interest Cole, but overall we don't really get to explore that all that much. And I thought that was very much one of the lacking elements here of the film, because the movie takes a lot of time to focus on Kettle Springs itself and the history of the town. But if Quinn's our main character, I felt that we did a bit of a disservice by not really jumping a bit more into her backstory in that relationship with her mother. The fact that it gets brought up as something so prominent, but we don't really get a chance to actually get more information on why. I think that was one of the biggest missteps of the film, unfortunately. In addition to that, I think that the other kids of Kettle Springs don't really get a chance to shine all that much either. Quinn gets introduced to what's considered to be the bad kids in school, led by her love interest Cole, played by Carson McCormick. And, she's able to integrate herself with them fairly quickly. But I think that Cole's really the only one who gets an actual character in this. We have these other two girls who are just really there to be mean girls, but not really. They're not really fully committed to that and their treatment of Quinn through the film. Cole has a couple of his friends, but they're not really much fleshed out either. Cole's really the only one who actually gets a significant significant character, and I enjoyed his arc a lot. I think especially in 2025, the choice they go with Cole here was very, very surprising, honestly, and I think refreshing for a genre film like this, because it's so easy again to fall in a lot of the usual tropes. You know, I've already kind of talked about that, and it very much goes against the norm of what you might expect in the relationship and in the roles that Cole and Quinn present in a film like this. But again, Cole is really the only one of this friend group who actually gets a rounded out character. And that's another misstep that Clown in the Cornfield has. I do feel that there might have been some interesting stories had we had maybe just a little bit of a longer running time to give to some of these other characters that are there. And the adults don't really play that much of a role in this story. You know, Quinn's dad is the most prominent adult of the film itself, but they're only really there to kind of, I don't know, I guess box things in to remind you that it's not a lawless town and that somebody is like keeping an eye on all of these kids here. But that's really the only role they really serve. You know, Will Sasso and Kevin Durant both get chances to show out a bit in this, but they are for sure not the main attraction at all to this story. These kids are very much our point of view for this film, and that's very much what you have to get in line with. I think honestly that a lot of our school crowd getting out for the summer is going to have a great time following along this group of kids for sure there. As for the kills, there are some great, brutal, bloody kills in this one for sure. They very much make good use of the rating. And it's so interesting. I've talked about it before that movies about like teenagers getting killed as a kid, it didn't really click for me. You know, I didn't really have that self-reflection on the fact that who's actually getting killed off in these movies. And watching this one, this is one of the ones that like kind of hit me after not thinking about it for a while. Like, geez, like, these are actual kids getting killed off in this film in some really, really terrible ways, honestly. And again, like the kills they do in this, they're really, really fun. You're gonna get some creative ones. The damn barbell with a saw was a really, really good one. But there's some really fun kills in it. I will say though that a couple of the deaths in the film did have me raising my eyebrows in theaters. The first featured death, not the first death of the film, but the first featured character who gets killed, I had issues with that. And then the chainsaw death a little bit later on, I had issues with that as well too. It's a real question of what are we doing in 2025 with those specific tropes? Those kind of gotta go away and like just be left in the past at this point there. But that said, this film evokes a lot of classics that you can see influences, at least in my opinion, strung throughout. Cherry Falls, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, Children of the Corn, Freddy vs. Jason. Like these are all films that I've seen a little bit of like influence from those all peppered throughout it. And considering where the story goes with it, more than a few of those become even more apparent by the time the credits hit on it. And I will say the third act of the film is exciting as all hell. It runs at a breakneck speed. There's so much going on. And once we kind of get the full scope of what the story actually is and the characters are running for their life, it doesn't really let up until the end of the film. So it does an amazing job in its third act. I just wish that the first 2/3 of the film could have really matched up to what we get in it. And not only that, but even though I enjoy that third act, it unfortunately raises a lot of questions about a lot of the kills that happen in the movie because it takes away a lot of, in my opinion, what made them so special and so cool. And it just loses a little bit of that originality that they have once we kind of get the reveal of what's actually going on. That said, though, I think that this is a fine way for us to get started off in the summer. We're only going up from here. So I want y'all to tell me in the comment section, if you got a chance to check out Clown in the Cornfield, what did you think about it? If you read the book, is the book better? Is this something I need to get to sooner than later? Are we happy to start things off with another fast-paced slasher? Let me know all that in the comment section. And of course, y'all, make sure to get subscribed to my link tree. I got more great reviews coming out for y'all, a lot of great horror content. I don't want y'all to miss any of that. You can go get subscribed at linktr.ee/T Scary Movie. If you get subscribed, that's going to give you access to the YouTube page, the video versions of the show, your favorite podcasting platforms for the audio-only versions of the show, my Letterboxd page for written reviews and movie rankings through the year, to my TikTok page for movie news, movie premieres, and movie reviews, my Twitch page for horror gaming, in my Fangoria shop page where you can enjoy a 20% discount off anything in the Fangoria shop. Take advantage of that, y'all. Hit that subscribe button there. I want to bring all the great horror content to all of you. Coming in the next week here, folks, we're going to talk about the upcoming horror game show, Better Luck Than Chuck. I'm going to have some great discussions coming up here on that and a number of fantastic reviews coming your way, including Bring Her Back, more of The Bondsman, The Last of Us Season 2, Black Mirror, Borderline. Folks, we got so much good stuff coming your way. Don't want you to miss any of that. Hit that subscribe button, though, folks. That's it for me tonight. My name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared.